Hello and welcome to another episode of Success Starts Within. So, off of the back of last week's episode, I felt very called to talk about the menstrual cycle and how much that motherfucker affects us in business. Because I've had so many conversations with women, and one woman in particular, I remember talking to her and she started to explain about her business and etc. And I said to her, do you track your cycle at all? And she was like, well, no, not really. Why? And I said, because what you're saying to me sounds like your mood, your energy, your motivation, your inspiration, your creativity is all kind of in alignment with your cycle. So she went off, she tracked it, and she came back to me. She was like, fucking hell, you are so right. She was like, I have these periods of feeling like absolutely amazing where I get so much done, I don't procrastinate. And then some days it will take me like 2 hours just to write a piece of content. And up until this point, so many of us have really struggled with ourselves in business, and not understanding why are we feeling great some days, why are we not? Like, why is sometimes creating like a face to cam reel easier than other days? And that is a really difficult place to be in, and a way to feel, because when we're not feeling the way that we should, or when we're not able to perform the way that we would like to, we start to chastise ourselves. Oh, well, maybe I'm not cut out for this because I'm inconsistent, or do you know what, I'm not very good at this. And we say these things to ourselves. And so that's when we start to maybe stop doing the things that we want to be doing because we don't think that we're able to do it. But actually, that is not the problem. The problem is our menstrual cycle. So have you ever sat down at your desk one week and you're like, I feel fucking unstoppable. Like, I've got loads of ideas. I feel so confident. I'm motivated. And then like a week or two later, you're questioning yourself. You're struggling to focus, and you're just wondering, like, where the hell did that drive disappear to? I need it back. Because for so many years, many women, have been taught to operate like men in business. So it's like a 24-hour cycle of push, stay consistent, show up the same way every single day. But women are not like that. We don't work on that 24-hour cycle like men. We work on like roughly, I know everybody's a bit different, but we run roughly on like a 28-day cycle. And understanding our menstrual cycle, honestly, can completely change how you work. It's going to change the way that you create your content. It's going to change the way that you sell, how you make decisions, and also how you manage your energy in your business. So today I'm going to be talking about the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, because not many women know about this. And also how we can align our business activities to each phase so that we're no longer fighting it against our body, we're just working with it. Because I don't want you to tell yourself that you're inconsistent, or, you're having a lazy day, or do you know what, I'm not very disciplined. Because actually, that isn't the problem. The problem is normally your hormonal fluctuations. And your hormonal fluctuations, your hormones influence your energy levels, your confidence, your creativity, your ability to communicate, your ability to speak as well. So you might find that some days you're tripping over your words, other days you're just like a fucking firebomb. Your hormones also influence your focus, your motivation, and your emotional resilience as well. So if you get that no from a client, some days you might be able to brush it off and be like, that's absolutely fine, I'm going to keep going. Other days you might be like, oh my God, this is all about me. What have I done wrong? So yeah, it's honestly, they have a huge effect. And when you understand what is happening to you biologically, you stop making yourself wrong, and you start just working with your natural strengths. So I just want to very quickly cover the 4 phases because I know not everybody knows them. Now, The first phase is called the menstrual phase, you know, when we're having our period. And that is kind of, I'm going to do it like the seasons. So this is like winter, you know, your hormone levels are really low. Your energy is really low as well. And that kind of naturally drops. And it's your body's invitation to just slow down, get cozy under the duvet, reflect and rest. And how you may feel is you might feel a bit more introverted. So I went to a networking event on Monday and I wasn't aware that it was coming up to my menstrual phase. And I was around all these incredible women, but I could feel myself pulling back, like quite happy just to sit at the table and listen rather than get involved. And I was like, what is going on? Because I'm usually like the one that's like in all of the conversations. Looked at my app and I was like, that would be why. So even as somebody that's very extroverted, you will feel very introverted sometimes, like during the menstrual phase. Your energy, as I said, is really low. You can also be a lot more intuitive because you're slowing down and you're not kind of pushing. You're not that. If you allow the noise to quieten because you are resting more, it gives opportunity for your intuition to become louder. And then you can speak to your intuition, find out what's going on, what it needs, not necessarily within that moment, but what does your business need now in the next few months and next year or whatever. You know, you can have that really lovely connection with it. It's also a great time to reflect as well. So again, we keep pushing, we keep going forward in business. Sometimes we're not very good at looking back and thinking about what did work, what didn't work, what can we do? Use that time to reflect as well. Also use that time to reflect on you and how you have been feeling. You know, we have to check in on ourselves. We don't always do that, but we need to do a lot more of it. And you will be less interested in being visible. So you're not going to want to jump on your stories and start talking about your offer. And even if you did, because your energy is low, you're not going to be coming across with that certainty and conviction. So the best business activities for you to do during this time is just spend time reviewing your goals. Reflect on what's working, as I said. You can do some strategic planning as well. Lots of journaling, that's a great time to do it as well. Vision setting and just analysing data and metrics. So all of these kind of very quiet activities. One thing, just going back to what I said about being less interested in being visible. This is where you need to plan your content. So when you plan your content and you schedule it, it allows that week of your menstrual cycle for you to not actually have to create because you've already created it in your lot more, your more energized phase, which is your follicular phase. So this is the second phase. This is like spring. So this is just after your period finishes and your estrogen finally starts to rise. It's when you're like, oh my God, actually, I don't want to kill myself anymore. I'm happy again. And your energy increases, business feels easier, your motivation returns, and your brain becomes a lot more receptive to learning, more receptive to innovation and getting fresh ideas as well. And this is also actually the point where you're going to feel more inspired and optimistic. So the motivation is back, the creativeness back. You'll get a bit more curious because you've allowed that time to rest. You're going to be a bit more curious to kind of think about maybe what you can do next. You're going to feel excited and you're going to feel open to more new possibilities. You're going to find that that's the point where you say yes to opportunities rather than no, or I want to consider them when you're in the menstrual phase. And this is a great opportunity for you to start to brainstorm, create new offers, map out content ideas, learn something new as well. You can do your launch planning and starting new projects. So really that, as I said, it's the inner spring. So it's that beginning phase. It's the thinking, the creative of what could grow into something bigger. And this is the perfect time for you to dream big. Nothing will hold you back. Think expansively and just see what ideas like naturally start to flow with you. I would say any idea that pops into your head during the follicular phase, I want you to note it down in your phone because that could be a fantastic idea that you might want to implement in your ovulation phase, which is the next phase, which I call the inner summer. So this is the highest part. Well, caveat, this is usually the highest the highest energy phase of your cycle. But actually for me, and I know quite a few other women as well, they get a dip again. So this is where actually they don't feel so energized. For me, I'm the follicular, I'm just like, yes. But actually the ovulation for me is also quite similar to the menstrual cycle. So it's quite a dip. I have a very long luteal phase, but I'll go into that in a minute. And I actually think my ovulation phase is like maybe a day or two, and then I have a very long luteal phase. But this is when the estrogen peaks, and so many women feel fucking awesome. They get their confidence back. They're able to go and start communicating, making connections with people better, and that is when they're really like socially in their energy. So this is the perfect time for you to go out and get into those networking events and start being around other people, because you're going to naturally feel more visible and comfortable to be seen, because you've got that confidence, you're feeling charismatic, you're going to be more outgoing, energized, and naturally more magnetic. Because obviously ovulation is the time when you get pregnant. It's when we start to glow. That's when we can attract our man. And yeah, it's just a natural kind of like glow that we have. So in this period, get on the sales calls, go to your networking, as I said, do speaking engagements. I mean, I know it's hard for us to plan our speaking engagements around our cycle, but if you can, then do it around this phase. Try and do podcast interviews around here as this phase as well, because you're going to have that energy, you're going to have that magneticness about yourself. Go live on Instagram, do activities with clients, like trying to draw them in. And again, as I said, be a lot more visible. This is where you plan your content. This is where you record your content, ready to schedule for your menstrual phase. Okay, so this is the perfect time. And then lastly, the luteal phase, the inner autumn. So this is just after your ovulation, and you gradually start to decline. So as I said, I actually think, sadly, I have a very long luteal phase, because this is kind of pretty much from ovulation. I'm like, but yeah, this is when your energy it will start to decline. And a lot of people say that this is the part where things feel a bit heavy, and I want to kind of go inwards a little bit. So I would say during this phase, this is where you're more focused, you'll be more analytical, you're more like detail orientated, but it's also the opportunity for you to start refining stuff as well. So refine your systems, just do your content, edit your content and schedule it ready for the menstrual phase. As I said, you filmed it when you are in your follicular and ovulation phase. So now's the time to actually schedule it ready for the next sort of week or so, where you're going to feel a bit organize your workflows, like review your finances, anything like that. Just more kind of reflective, more kind of like detailed work, analytical, checking the stats, doing the metrics, that kind of thing. Now, I'm hoping as you've heard me explain the 4 phases, you're kind of getting this understanding of how this can fit into your business. And it truly can fit into your business. Now, I know, obviously, I don't know about you, but like my cycle can sometimes be like 21 days, 28 days, whatever. But you can plan as much as you can around it. But ultimately, if you just have it in the back of your mind that you're feeling a certain way, I use an app called Stardust, where I track my symptoms and I track my cycle. And it shows up how I felt a month ago on that day. And if you just track your cycle, honestly, I'm telling you now, it will change your life. You will no longer be having these moments of, I can't do this anymore. I feel shit. This is really hard. Why is it taking me an hour to do a fucking reel when it usually takes me 20 minutes? You know, you stop fighting against yourself, because that's what we are always doing. Like, we're always fighting against ourselves and chastising ourselves as well. But actually, if we understand what's going on with our body, and then we use we use it to our advantage within our business and also within our home life as well, you will see a huge change in your productivity. You will see a huge change in your sales as well, because you're not trying to push and make sales when you are in the menstrual cycle, for example, or you're in the luteal phase when you're just not feeling it. So practical ways really for you to start cycle syncing is what it's called, is firstly, okay, so there's 6 things here I want you to do. I want you to track your cycle for the next 3 months. Just observe it. That's it. Just track it on an app. Notice the patterns in your energy, your confidence, your creativity, and your focus. Okay, so this is where you'll be able to start planning your business out properly. Then I want you to start scheduling your visibility activities, so going live, making face-to-cam reels, etc., during either the follicular or the ovulation phase, where possible. I know it's obviously not possible all the time, but just as much as you can. Use your menstrual phase for reflection and planning. And honestly, if you want to do that from the sofa, under the duvet, or from your bed, that is okay. Okay? Fucking do it. Who said you have to sit at your desk all the time? You can do that from your bed. And in fact, you'll probably work more productively because you're going to be a lot more cozier. Use your follicular phase for the innovation and creation. So really allow those ideas to come in, write them down in your notes app, and just see where you go with that. And then your luteal phase is for the organization and the completion. So can you see where you're starting something, implementing it, analyzing it, and closing it? And if we work with our menstrual cycle and we have all the different systems and strategies in our business that follow that, I cannot tell you how much fucking easier your life is going to feel. But not only that, you're going to see your business grow. You're going to see your business change and evolve a lot quicker because you're not pushing against yourself. And your menstrual cycle, it's not something that gets in the way of our success. So sometimes we're like, oh, do you know what? I'm on my period and it's just so annoying because I've got this going on. Actually just use it as valuable information, because when you understand your body's natural rhythm, you are going to gain access to a powerful source of self-trust. Okay, I'm going to say that again. When you understand your body's natural rhythm, you're going to gain access to a powerful source of self-trust. And you're trusting in yourself because you're understanding yourself and why you're feeling the way that you do. And the women that create sustainable success are not always pushing harder, as we've said before, but they're actually understanding themselves and they're understanding their menstrual cycle and when they can push, when's a good time to create, when's a good time to connect, and when is a good time to rest, so that your body is working with you. So I really hope that this episode has resonated with you, and I have this intuitive feeling that some of you are listening to this going, oh my fucking God, is this really what I have been missing in my 40 odd years of life? Well, you're welcome, my darling, because I really want this to be something that you understand. And please, could you share this episode with as many women in business as possible, because I want them to understand that pushing at certain points in their months, it's just not going to work. And when you're hitting your head against a brick wall, maybe that's the time to just hold off on that task and plan it in like a week or two later when you're feeling a lot more energized in your cycle. So thank you so much for listening to this episode today. I would absolutely love to hear any of your feedback, anything that you have felt has clicked with you, connected with you. I would love to know. I just love to connect with you anyway. But yes, please let me know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.